Okay, so this is an introduction video to Ignitenet Cloud Controller Interface. Remember, when you register on the cloud, your first two devices are free. So firstly, go to www.ignitenet.com/cloud. Click on the sign up button and you'll be redirected to the cloud controller. Click on I want to register. Enter your email, first name, last name, password, confirm password and confirm the security key and register. Once you've registered and you can log in, you've logged in, you'll see the cloud dashboard as you can see here. First thing we'll do is create a new site. So we'll click on a drop down list, create a new site. So you can put a site name in, you can put the description in, you can select email contacts, you can select the language, time zone, etc, etc. You can also enter a location here, so if you have multiple sites around the world, it's easier to locate which site is for which location, and you can save that. Also, you have an upgrade at registration option, so this will automatically upgrade the firmware on any devices that are connected to cloud, and you have enabled configuration. This will automatically update your AP depending on your site configurations, which is good for multiple AP deployments. Now we'll click on devices. We want to register our device, so we'll click on devices and we'll click on add new device. We'll select our site, and here we have two options. So we have enterprise. Basically this option will, whenever a new device has been added to your cloud, you have the option where you can tell it to inherit your site options. So for say you've got one site and it's got multiple APs that you're deploying on that one site, you can have all the APs have the same configuration, same SSIDs, same wireless security keys, etc. And all you have to do really is select it here, enter your serial number, enter your MAC address and a name, and once the device is connected to the internet, it will download the configuration from the cloud and put it onto your device. Or you can do individually controlled, where you will individually control each device. You can do that through the cloud also, or through the internal web GUI. Okay, so now we'll go into the configuration side of things. So we'll first of all select our site. We'll go to here, you can see the site dashboard. We've got the number of device registered, you've got warnings, so if there's anything gone wrong with the devices, you can tell, they'll give you a warning. You've got online devices, you've got free clients connected to the current AP, how much is uploaded today and how much has been downloaded today. You've got more graphs to tell you what's going on. You've got a couple MAC addresses that are currently connected to the AP, and we've got the most active APs in the last 30 minutes. So when you've got multiple ones, you can see which ones being used the most, and then most active APs over the last 24 hours, same kind of thing. And here you've got site maps where you can tag your unit to a location, and you can manage the maps here also. Okay, now we'll go to configuration, advanced setup. Remember, here you can add up to 8 SSIDs, so you can always create a new SSID. Here, this is for the 5 gigahertz network, so you put in your SSID network name, broadcast SSID, client isolation on and off, so wireless clients cannot talk to each other, minimum SNR allowed. It's another feature where you can, if say a phone has low signal and it's not basically connecting to the other AP with higher signal, you can set a minimum SNR. So basically when the phone has low signal, it'll get kicked off and it'll be forced to connect to the other AP which has higher signal. Security settings, standard security settings, WPA 2, etc. You got radius MAC authentication as well, and access control list. This is very handy for people that only want allowed MAC addresses to connect to their APs, or if you've got people that keep connecting to them and you don't want them to connect, you can enter the MAC address here and select deny all MAC addresses on the list. Network behavior, we have some modes here. We've got bridge to internet, basically uses a DHCP server that's connected to the AP. So it would just be like a DHCP pass-through mode. We've got root to internet where it uses onboard DHCP. We've got guest network, which is guest network. We've got hotspot controlled where it will be controlled by hotspot, and we've got VLAN tag traffic. And then we've got root through. So basically, as it's using its own board DHCP server, you can select default local network, which we'll cover later. You can also set up other ones, so you can have, say, only LAN access or internet access, and you'll be able to set it here. We've got limit upload rate, so you can limit the upload rate. You've got KBS here, and we've got limit download rate, so you can limit them more of a QoS feature. 2.4, near enough same thing. You know, you can add SSIDs, etc. Let me remove that, don't want that there. And so there's another example of how easy you can delete an SSID. You've got max client count, you can set the maximum number of clients. You've got the bandwidth, so you can set 5 MHz, 10 MHz, 20 MHz, 40 MHz. Max TX power rate, so you can adjust the power as needed. And you've got the beacon interval. And here you can see the current SSIDs that we've set up. I've got a guest one and an office one. Once you move this here, you can tick that and you can edit that. VLAN is normal VLAN. You can click on add VLAN, put in the ID, put on the ports and the LAN ports. Internet, WAN port, obviously, as the internet source, and IP address mode, use device settings or DHCP. So you can manually set an IP if you're using device settings to your device, or if you select DHCP, it will pull an IP address from your router to the AP. Ethernet, here we can select the behavior bridge to internet at the moment, so meaning it's using a DHCP server elsewhere and it's just passing through to the Ethernet ports. Hotspot, you got hotspot control. I will do another video soon. Hotspot only works with third-party vendors like hotspotsystems.com, and like I said, an in-depth video will follow soon. It will cover social media, Wi-Fi, Facebook, etc., and even chargeable or free internet services. LAN. Here, this is where I was talking about. You can add a guest network or a custom network, and you can tag that to your 5 gigahertz network over here. So, for example, I want to add one. Add a custom LAN. Test. Add LAN. Okay. Then we'll go here, and normally you should see the test one here, the one I just created. As it's using onboard DHCP server, route to internet, I can tag the test. So when I go to the LAN, here you got the local default network. So you got an IP address 192.168.2.1. Got the subnet mask, MTU size, DHCP range, start and end. You got the lease time, enable STP and enable UPnP and DHCP server. Smart isolation. Right now is set to full access, and you can see 5 gigahertz is tagged to that default network. Guest network, you can see here we've tagged our separate SSID to the guest network, and we've got a 5 gigahertz one as well. Here's the test one that I just created. So basically I can tag that to one of the separate SSID, so I can set that to, say, for example, internet access only. So any clients that connect to that SSID will only have internet access. No, they won't be able to see any LAN devices. Or you can have LAN access only, so they only have access in your local area network or intranet, depending on what you want. You can set, obviously you've got different DHCP ranges here, or IP addresses, and DHCP ranges, and all the same features. So I'll just remove that as it's not needed. Okay, local logins. Here you can change the username and password over here. Well, you can change the password, or you can delete it or add a local login. System settings here, you can enable cloud status LED. and you can disable or enable the reset button on board. So if you're deploying it and you don't want anyone to reset the device, you can disable the reset button. Services, standard services, we've got SSH server. You can set the ports manually, and you can allow access from WAN. Discovery tool, this is a handy tool if you have multiple devices in one location. So you go into the network, you want to know which devices you got and what IP addresses they're running on. You can install this tool that can be downloaded from our website, and it will locate all the devices, all the Ignitenet devices within your network. So you can basically turn that on or off. So if you don't want third-party users to be able to use the same discovery tool to find your APs, you can turn that off or on, and you can allow it over WAN if you want. Telnet server, obviously Telnet standard port 23, you can allow that over the WAN. Web server, you can change that port also, for example, to 8080 if you've got CCTV already running on port 80, and you can allow it from the WAN. HTTPS, obviously again same thing, you can change the port. And network time NTP, you can set your own servers. And you have SNMP, standard SNMPs you can use, and to find out more network information. Firewall, it should be the standard firewalls. You can add a name, target, accept, drop, reject, mark, non-track, family, IPv4, IPv6, source IP, source network. So you can say local internet guest, source IP, port, protocol, destination, IP, port. Port forwarding, standard port forwarding. Name, select your protocol, external port, destination IP, so this will be your internal IP, and destination port, internal port. So this is more of a port redirection. So externally you can set, say, port 8080, and you want it to redirect it to port 80, you can do that. Okay, so that's most of that covered. Let's discard some of these settings because they're not needed. And then we have maps. Google Maps, so you can tag your devices as you see here. We've got our device added here, and you can basically drag and drop it where you want. Floor maps, so you can add a floor map. You can name it, select the image, and then you can tag where each AP is in each device. You've got site properties. This is where you can just edit your current site that you've already done. Okay, so we go back to the dashboard. We've got alerts here. This is where you can see all the alerts once it loads. Yep. So if you've got anything that's like here, it just tells you what's happened 4 hours ago. Our AP Spark Office device was rebooted. Clients. Here you can see again just all the clients that have connected. Current ones come up here green. And you've got a couple of pages, how much they've uploaded, how much they've downloaded, what the signal is, what channel, what IP address, etc. System activity, you can see if anyone's logged in and made any changes and what changes they've made. Maintenance, here again you can see if anyone's done anything like to it, received anything, or yes, if there was an error, if it's succeeded on the changes you made via cloud, etc. You see description, device, system, site, etc. Configuration, we covered the advanced setup. and Express setup. Local logging, select your country. So this is more of a easy way to set it up. You can select your country, select the SSID, security, all passwords, and everything else. Okay, so we'll move on to how to add users. We'll go back to the cloud menu and go to users. Here you can see all the users that are allowed to connect to your cloud. You can invite other users by clicking on the invite button. Here you have the email address. You can enter the email address. You can enter a message saying basically you're inviting for access on the cloud. Then you have the role. You have administrator, so you can give them administration access, or regular user. So if you don't want them to have administration rights to make several changes, you can change that to regular user, and you can set which kind of site they can manage, and will the user be guest sites, you can choose a site and invite them. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to devices. So we'll click on devices here. So this is where we can individually control the device. Here we have the current health status. As you can see, it's okay. You can see it's online. You've got the name, Spark Office. You've got the product, the model, the serial number, the type of configuration that you've set to it. So E is for enterprise, meaning it will inherit the site settings, or IC, which means individually controlled. You have the firmware version. You have the registered state. You have what day it was created on, and what day the last contact was on. Here we have the actions and options. Here you can change the type of connection here from enterprise to individually controlled. So you can tick that and adjust it. You can move the site, so you can set it to a different site. You can block it if you wish to block it. You can decommission it if you want to decommission the device, and you can delete it. Also, you can add devices here. We've got status select, so you can select which filters you want to see. So if you only want to see online devices, you can tick that, it'll show online devices, or offline, and it'll show offline devices. You have the health, so you can select which health type you want, normal, only show the warnings one, or criticals, or normal ones. Here you have the registered selection. You can filter to see which ones are pending, or registered, or requires action. Block, obviously here you can filter unblocked or blocked. Decommission, same again, you can select the filter for normal or decommissioned, and configuration policy, whether they're enterprise or individual, and that will cover the filters part. Okay, so now we'll click on our AP to go for manual configuration or individually configured setup. Here you see the site, license, firmware, Mac, serial, model, enterprise policy, host name, created on which day, last contact, uptime, etc. And then here you have the refreshing rate, so you can limit it to save bandwidth, so you can set the refresh to say 30 seconds, so only update the cloud every 30 seconds, or you can stop refreshing. Here you can see the location of your unit via map, Google Maps. Here you got actions, so you can set the device to blink, meaning once you set it to blink, the LEDs on the front of the device will blink, so you can individually locate each unit. You got fetch troubleshooting log, so if you've got any problems with the unit, you can fetch this log and send it over to our engineers for further investigation. You've got packet capture, so you can capture packets, and you've got reboot, so you can reboot the device. Further below, we've got the uptime, how long the device has been up. We've got CPU utilization, so we know how much CPU is being used, and we've got memory usage. Below, we've got some live stats. We've got 5 gigahertz. You can see how much data has been sent and received. You've got 2.4 radio, where you can see also again what's received and sent. You've got Ethernet. Obviously, you can again see what traffic's gone through there, send and receive through the Ethernet port. These two, Ethernet port 1 and Ethernet port 2, are currently disabled. Active clients, you can see which one's got most active clients by upload and download, and also below here you've got all of the active clients, IP addresses, SSID, upload rate, download rate, session upload, download, frequency, current SNR, etc. Okay, so we're going to wireless now. Here you can see physical status. You can see 5 gigahertz at the top, and a status is up, what mode is currently connecting in, what channel it's using, and the power and MAC address. Here you can see the historical graphs, traffic throughput, how much there's traffic's gone through it, and you can filter that through weeks and years. You have the utilization, so you can also filter that through weeks and days and years, and you have the client count by SSID. So you can see Office is the one here that's mostly been used, and Zcomax guest is hardly being used. Here we have radio 1, which is 2.4. You can see the status is up. You can see historical graphs, traffic throughput. Again, same as the 5 gigahertz stats. Networks. So you click on networks now, you can see the internet WAN, you can see the IP address that's been assigned to the unit. You can see a network subnet mask, DHCP, obviously assigned via DHCP. You've got the bridge interfaces, which tells you which SSIDs and ports are tagged to use the DHCP from our DHCP server that's located on the network. We've got default local network, so this is this onboard DHCP, and we've got the guest again, and you can see which SSIDs have been mapped to the guest network. Hotspot here, obviously you'll be able to see the same for each SSID that you mapped to the hotspot. And you have port traffic. Here you can see Ethernet port 0, the traffic that's going through, and if Ethernet port 1 and 2 were used, you'll see the same. So now we'll move on to clients. Here you can see active clients here, online, online, online. They're marked as green. And here, these are the ones that are not active, but they have connected to your AP. You can see which SSID they're connected to, what IP address they had, what channel they used, signal, upload, and download per session. Alerts. So here we've got the alerts. Obviously no alerts at the moment. You can again filter them. You can select from which day you want to see your alerts. You can see inactive, and you can clear your alerts. Now we go to maintenance. Here you can see what maintenance, who's basically configured or changed configuration settings on your device and the status of that. Obviously he says here status was completed, scheduled date it was about 13 minutes ago, completed 12 minutes ago, and it was a change to the config, and which user did it, and was it successful, and what changes they made. You can also upgrade the firmware here. And now we have the individual configuration. So here you can see we've got an SSID in use already, just some of the normal settings that we went through before. If I go back, you can see here we can adjust the channel for the 5 gigahertz band. And here is band steering, which is good if you have two devices, or you have one device, sorry, with that uses 2.4 and 5 gigahertz band. You can name the SSIDs the same, so you can have the 5 gigahertz and the 2.4 named exactly the same, and once you enable this feature, your device will automatically connect to the faster band, meaning 5 gigahertz or AC band, instead of connecting to the 2.4. Wireless 2.4 is near enough the same. You can set all your security settings here, or you can change your channels and change the mode, max client count, stuff like that here. You can also edit your SSID if you like, just by clicking that here. But right now obviously I can't do that because this is set to use site settings. Got VLAN, obviously we covered VLAN before. Internet, you can see here, internet source is port 0. It's set to static IP. It's got IP addresses here and subnet mask, etc. Ethernet, you got the ports, so you can basically set port 1 to route to internet, meaning using the onboard DHCP server, and you can change this to one of the networks that you created. Oh, sorry, LAN. You can create a separate LAN and you can set it to internet only or LAN only access. You can also set bridge to internet, meaning you use a DHCP server elsewhere. And also you can add the guest network, and you can also hotspot control this Ethernet port, and same with the Ethernet port too. Hotspot, obviously this is where you enter your hotspot settings. Another video will follow shortly that will cover the hotspot setup. LAN, this is where you can create your own custom LAN. Like I said before, you can create a custom LAN with internet access only or LAN access, and you can enable UPnP, set the DHCP start range, end range, and set the IP address as well. Local loggings, this is where you can add local username and passwords for the device if needed. System settings, again, you can enable cloud status LED, so when it's connected to cloud, the LED will change color, and enable reset button on the device, so basically no one else can, if you disable that, no one can reset the device. And here we have the normal SSH discovery tool, telnet, web server, and network time, and SNMP, which I covered in the previous video. And we have firewall, port forwarding as well. And I think that's it. This concludes the introduction to the Ignite Cloud Controller. Thank you for watching, and keep your eye out for other Ignitenet demonstration videos.